All right, we continue coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. It is the Zach Gelb Show. I feel like I've known Coach Bruce Pearl for almost 2 decades because when I was a kid growing up in Comac, New York on Long Island, I would see a big picture of his every day on the gym wall of mine because Coach is inducted into the Jewish Sports Hall of Fame, and that's where my gym was as a kid. And all these years later, nothing much has really changed because now I see Coach all over my TV screen because his number one ranked Auburn Tigers go into Alabama. They go up against the Crimson Tide on Saturday, and they get a huge victory over the number two ranked team in the country. And now joining us is the head basketball coach of the number one ranked Auburn Tigers, and that, of course, is our pal, Coach Bruce Pearl. Coach, appreciate the time. How you been?
It's great to be with you, Zach. Obviously, we've been pretty good, but as in my business, it's all about what we've done lately.
Yeah, well, lately was pretty damn good on Saturday. I know that you have a big game coming up against Cal and Arkansas. Usually when you have a 94 to 85 game, I'm not usually asking a defensive question right out of the gate, but I know you want to highlight Denver Jones, so please
Yeah.
do that. Go ahead to a national audience.
Well, thank you, Zach. Look, you're right. Why would you be talking on your defense when you gave up 85? But if you can keep Alabama under 100 on their home floor, you've actually accomplished something. They're a great offensive team. Nate Oates has got a great offensive mind. They do a great job, and for the most part, we held them down from three. And the key to that is obviously Mark Sears. He's such a great player. But Denver Jones is one of the best defensive guards in all of college basketball that nobody knows anything about. If you look at his matchup, Zach, he has won every single matchup all season long, except the young man at Florida, Comp, had a great game. And so Denver's able to sort of sit down and take away his penetration, have the size to conduct from three. And at the same time, Denver's been actually playing some point guard for us too as well. And he's always been a bucket getter. So thanks for the few seconds to promote Denver Jones to the Naismith all defensive team.
I know you guys were a deep team going in. They kept on talking about it in the morning on game day, but then to see it in a 1 versus 2 matchup and how many different guys impacted your team to go get a victory. In this sport, I know a lot of times we highlight on individuals, but you got to be real happy just with how deep your team is.
Oh, no, absolutely. We've got Janai Broom who's right there for Player of the Year, and it's well deserved because of he's our leading scorer, our leading rebounder, our leading shot blocker, our leading assist guy, throwing the ball inside out of the post, so on and so forth. And the bench is something that you have to develop, and the fact that we have Tahad Pettiford, who I think is the best freshman point guard in the country, coming off the bench, Chaney Johnson. A Division II player that has developed an inside-outside powerhouse game through his incredible work ethic. And then because Chad Baker-Mazara, who's one of our best players, has been so banged up and limited in practice and things like that, we just brought him off the bench so that he wouldn't have to play 30 minutes. And so you got those three guys coming off the bench. You're not dropping off. You're getting better.
I know that it was a game that you guys were in control, and you knew Alabama was eventually going to make their run. When it gets to 65-65 down the stretch, Tahad Pettiford in those final 7.5, 8 minutes was awesome. And he hits that three. He does the little celebration, then has a nice hard drive right to the basket. He's only a freshman, like you said. Has he always had this confidence all throughout the year? Because it's unbelievable to watch.
He has. He's been that way start to finish. From the first game we played at Houston all the way through, he's played our best against the best teams in our schedule. He's going to be one of those guys that undersized will play in the NBA. He absolutely will. And imagine this, Zach. He was ranked anywhere between 24 and 35 on every service. And to think that there were 23 or 34 high school players in college basketball right now.
Crazy.
Pettiford, there weren't. But he's 5'10". And so because he's only 5'10", therefore he gets ranked that way. And he's got a chip on his shoulder. And he just goes out there every day to prove the naysayers that size matters in basketball. It does. But with this guy, it doesn't.
Coach Bruce Pearl here with us. Auburn number one ranked in the country after their huge victory up against number two Alabama in that 1-2 matchup. They have Arkansas coming up on Wednesday. You talked about the health of Chad Baker-Mazara and having him come off the bench. He came over a few years ago from San Diego State, now has been in your program for a while. Just how have you seen him grow when he first walked into your program to where he is today?
Well, I'll tell you what, Zach, he's one of the most versatile players in college basketball. He can guard 1 through 5. He can make plays for himself and others on both ends of the floor. He's got tremendous basketball IQ, plays with passion, energy, and I just think that I can do so many things with him. I can put the ball in his hands. He can knock down threes. He can turn corners and have a pull-up game. He can score with either hand. He can get to the rim. He's one of the best foul shooters in the country, and he's a great playmaker. So man, it makes it easy. Put the ball in his hands. Give him some space. Let him make plays, and he's going to make the right decision most of the time.
You're a relationships coach. Now it's tougher to form those relationships. And you've seen the transfer portal. You guys have kind of perfected it. And you've got guys to come in and they stay for a few years. We start with Janai Broom, who was coming over from Morehead State a few years ago. Just now having him under your watch for 3 years and this coming to an end. And hopefully, right, it ends with a national championship and a long run in March Madness. Just what does he mean to you as a player?
Well, Zach, if that is the case, if it does end with a long run in March, Janai Broom will go down as the best transfer maybe in the history of college basketball. It's a strong statement, but he's won a regular season championship. We're in the running for a tournament, an SEC tournament championship. He's been in the NCAA back-to-back years. He was all league his first year, all American his second year, potentially player of the year this year, and all he's done is impact, winning. So we're about making history both for our team and for our individual. Look, we got a long way to go. We have 6 regular season games. We can win them all. We can lose every single one of them. That's just life in the SEC this year. So proud of our league for being as strong as it is. And then what it's done, Zach, is it's put this Auburn basketball team in a position to historically have one of the best regular seasons in the history of college basketball. We've got, I think, 13 or 14. I think it's 14 quad one wins. That's never happened in the regular season ever already. And we still got 6 games left to go. And I think all of them are quad ones. So what an opportunity.
And also, you're not going to like to hear this because there's no such thing as a great loss, but even your losses, it's nothing to be embarrassed about whatsoever.
We've lost to Florida and Duke, 2 teams that are ranked second and third in the country. Yeah, but John Calipari comes here Wednesday with an Arkansas team that's good enough to beat anybody on any SEC. It was one of the teams that was picked at the top of the league. They're whether last 4 in or last 4 out or where they are, they need another signature win, and they're probably 1 win away against a team like Auburn of writing their ticket to the big dance. So they're going to come in here with their hair on fire.
Change is inevitable in this sport, Coach Bruce Pearl. You know that. Is it just bizarre, though, still? Is it an adjustment when you're going to look over at the sideline and you see Coach Cal in Arkansas red?
Well, seeing him in red's going to be different for sure, but I think it's another example. It's great for the league. Coach Pope coming in at Kentucky, great for Kentucky's program, and something just fresh because John had been there so long and done such a great job. And then Cal goes to Arkansas, revitalizes that program. So I just think that it's great. Obviously, for the game, and great for our fans. To be able to come in and see such great coaches and great players.
For your players that are still here from last year, which is a lot of them, right? You guys win an SEC championship and it just didn't go your way in that opening round game up against Yale. Now you fast forward almost a year later. I know there's still a lot of basketball to go, but what do you think your guys really took away from that performance up against Yale, and how do you maybe turn around coming up a year later?
One of the things I've always said is that Yale played well. We did not. We shot 50%. We played really well. We sent them to the foul line 31 times, which is way too much. And they beat us. It wasn't that we beat ourselves. So I'm very excited about it, and the possibilities of learning from where we struggled and seeing if we can, have that one shining moment come March. Zach, listen, I got to run, man. It's so good to be with you. You do a phenomenal job, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, I know you're busy, Coach. We appreciate it. Thanks for carving it in a few minutes.
You bet. Take care. War Eagle.